Wednesday at the moment. Trust me, I need to work out my time zones. Luckily, our guest today was very accommodating, as I'd scheduled it all for now, when actually I told him an hour later. So we've got to give him a big gratitude for that. Yes, Open for Business. This was a show that we first initiated just at the beginning of the UK lockdown to talk to business owners, coaches, consultants, to see what they were doing, seeing whether they were still working, whether they were doing something different. And it just grew. We suddenly had people from all around the world watching. So it's the same thing. That was just on a Facebook page. We now have it on our Facebook page, YouTube channel. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, we're live streaming there. And of course, we now make it all onto the beautiful podcast as well. My goodness, whoever saw that coming? Anyway, enough about me. We've got an amazing guy. We've got Bart Merrell. Now, he is a speaker. I've seen his stuff from Utah. I've seen his stuff on the internet. A very accomplished speaker, it has to be said. But I think you could call him a great entrepreneur as well. He helps you monetize, financial security by monetizing what you know. So we'll be asking about that. He's also the host of a Monetize What You Know podcast, and we'll be putting all the links into that as well. So without further ado, let me bring Bart onto the show and say welcome to the UK, Bart. Great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on earlier than anticipated.
Well, thanks for having me today. I sure appreciate you bringing me on. No matter what time it is.
That's it. You professional speakers, the stage is always open. And speaking of stage, the stage is yours. First of all, Bart, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with your speaking and your entrepreneurial lifestyle?
So as far as the entrepreneur lifestyle goes, I went to school to get in the FBI. That was my goal. I wanted to go out and chase serial killers. And I went to school in accounting because that was the easiest way into the FBI. And once you get in, I know it doesn't make sense, but they need white collar stuff. But once you get into the FBI, you can apply for whatever it is that you want to. Now, here's the caveat. I did not like accounting and I was not good at it. And I had 1 quarter left to go, and I went down to help my dad on the farm and improve my Spanish speaking and just improve my skills so that I could get into the FBI. While I was down there, and I call it Podunk, New Mexico. I mean, it is where the road ends and the West begins, is what my dad used to say. I mean, if you wanted to go out to eat for something that is not Mexican food, it was 2 hours either direction.
Wow.
So if I wanted to go get a fountain soda pop drink, it was 30 minutes one way. So we were out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I have to say that is something, Bart, that people in the UK, our concept of space like that, we just don't have it. Because we're on a tiny island, so that is like quite incredible. Sorry,
yeah. And so I was there working. I was making money. I didn't have a place to spend it, and friends of mine that were on like the border patrol, the customs, all that stuff. They were getting this new thing called RK surgery done on their eyes to correct their vision.
Okay.
It was before LASIK. I don't know if you guys do LASIK over there as much as we do it over here.
We do now.
But it was before LASIK. And what they do is they cut your eyeball, and the scar tissue shapes your eye differently so that it corrects your vision. I decided I'd go have it done. I think it was about $1,500 per eye. So I spent a lot of money to get it done. Then I got back up to school and found out that automatically disqualified me from the FBI.
Oh no.
It was still considered experimental surgery. And so you could get it done after you got into the FBI, but not before. And so here I am. I'm graduating in a couple of weeks with a degree that I don't want to be in. And I am devastated. I mean, I'm doing my part-time job, which was landscaping. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I actually applied for a couple of accounting jobs, but I'm still thinking, I don't want to sit at a desk and count other people's money. I just don't want to do it. And a buddy of mine, he jokingly asked me if I would like to go back to Japan. I served a mission for the Mormon, the LDS church here in Japan.
Right.
So I was fluent in Japanese. I had learned Spanish because I grew up in southern New Mexico, almost Mexico. So I had two languages going on. And my buddy asked me that jokingly, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I would like to go back. And so I took the first commercial bungee jump to Japan. And that's how I got my start in entrepreneurship. I contracted so that I connected with the company where it was up in Logan, Utah, where my college was.
Right.
And I connected with them. They said, yeah, we really want someone who is really into bungee jumping and knows the stuff, but I think it's more important that we have someone that speaks the language. So we'll teach you the bungee jump stuff. And then I contracted with the company in Japan, and I went to Japan that first year. I lived 6 months on and off there. I just doing the bungee jump thing, but building it, helped build the tower, training the staff, making sure that they functioned in a safe manner.
Yeah.
And so that's where I got my start.
Cool. Can I just ask, it's a bit like, hold the phone a minute there. Yeah. So it's the first commercial bungee jump company in Japan.
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing. And had you bungee jumped before, or was it just?
I had done a lot of crazy things before, but I had never bungee jumped. No. I had wanted to.
So armed with a crazy streak.
Yes, I do have that. I do have that adrenaline junkie blood in me.
I got to admit, I did it once years ago, and I did enjoy it. It's still not something I'd particularly want to do again.
No, I've done it hundreds and hundreds of times now, and I took. So, have you heard of the Sky Coaster?
No, what's that?
It's a big swing thing that's in a lot of the parks here in the U.S. I don't know how many are over in the U.K., but they called me, the same company that did the bungee jump called me again and said, hey, what about the Sky Coaster? Can we bring the Sky Coaster in? So I helped take that over there. And then a German ride called Scad Diving. They called me and said, I saw this thing on TV. We want you to go to Germany and go try it, and then come and tell us if you liked it. And so we did that in Japan. I actually built a couple of those over here in the US. And so that's how I got my start. When I was in Japan, I didn't really have a whole lot of friends, a new thing. And so I started going to the gym over there.
Yeah.
And a guy comes up to me. He doesn't speak any English. And he's the first person that wasn't a member, like a staff of the gym. He came up to me and goes, hello. And then I started speaking to him in Japanese, and he is like, oh, I'm glad you spoke Japanese, because if you didn't, hello was all I had.
At least he had hello. Yeah.
And he, yeah, exactly. And he was a big rig driver in Japan, drove big trucks in Japan. And he told me, after we'd been friends for probably 6 months or so, he's like, I want to quit driving a truck and start bringing camping trailers into Japan. Will you help me? And I was like, yeah. And so we've been doing that since the late 90s. Me and him together, we bring in all sorts of trailers, Ford and Dodge pickups, just a lot of things, whatever. I just sent a hunting boat over there, so just, that's how I got my start in my entrepreneurial stuff. Now I grew up with a dad who was a pig farmer, but he wasn't just a pig farmer. He had his hands in many things. and he didn't ever sit me down and tell me the birds and the bees of business. That's what I like to call it.
Yeah.
It was just his example of, he wasn't just a farmer. You know, he owned part of a dairy farm in Idaho, which is, you know, top and bottom of the United States. He owned part of a mushroom plant in Utah. He owned part of a produce warehouse in Arizona. And so he had his hands in many things, and it was his example, his encouragement. I did my first business at age 15. I was a mobile disco
All
person.
right.
I'd go around and do dances. But it was one step further for me, because in southern New Mexico, where I grew up, nobody was hiring. You know, it's not like I could, you know, I had one small school and that was it. And so I had to do my own thing. At 15, I rented out the community center. I hired an off-duty cop to be security. Mom and dad took money at the door. I spun records and made, you know, $500-600 a night doing dances on the weekend
Oh,
in a small
wow.
community. And then from there, it branched out to where I was doing college dances and traveling and doing school dances. And, you know, it was just, that's where I started, from the encouragement of my dad.
Yeah, and that's good. Now, I'm guessing taking that model, if you like, from when you're 15, spinning records. Yeah, when you then moved to college and bigger areas, you had the same model. You could just repeat, basically just rinse and repeat. So you knew
Right.
that model worked. Yeah.
And I started with a small stereo and worked up to, you know, $20,000 worth of equipment, and, you know, really blowing out the, you know, turning up the radio, as you might say.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, and I love your dad had so many different interests, and obviously that, you know, my father, the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree. But so is that just being aware of opportunity, or do you go and hunt it down?
I call it as being aware of opportunity. I wrote a book. It's Monetize Your Mindset. And the idea of monetize your mindset is to be aware of the opportunities that are around you and be willing to take advantage of those opportunities. And so my book is really, I call it a memory jogger, because a lot of us just need ideas. A lot of us just need to hear other people's ideas to spark your own brain to coming up with your own ideas that you are aware, that you know about.
Yeah.
You just need to think, oh, I could really monetize something like that. And we talked, you mentioned back to my weight.com, which I have,
I know, I love
where
that.
it started that my wife decided it was time for me to lose weight. She decided that she had gotten more than she bargained for, and she wanted to see a little less of me.
Yeah, wives are good at that. Yeah.
And she was right. I did need to lose weight. And when I got serious about it and decided I was going to do it, my first thought was, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to get paid to do it.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I went about looking for something that I could promote and get a little bit of, you know, a little bit of a kickback if I promote it. And it took me 8 years to find something that worked for me, because everything that I was going on to was about the 90-day challenge of me dieting and getting to the gym. And
That's
that
a
wasn't my DNA. I didn't have the commitment. Some of you have probably done this, where you go and you pay, you know, for a 3-year membership at the gym and then you never go back.
oh
That was
yes.
me.
Yes. I've definitely been there. Yeah, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but yeah,
Exactly.
after about
Yeah,
24 hours.
if I pay for it, I'll commit to go because I've already paid for it. And then no, it doesn't work. And so when I found something that I could back that would pay me a commission, I jumped on it, and I was, you know, it's kind of funny. I had purchased back to my wedding weight back in the beginning, because I thought, oh, that's an awesome website. That's an awesome domain name.
That
I
is,
just
yeah.
held on to it until I found something that worked for me. And I was about ready to let it go. And I found something that worked for me. I did it. To just make a long story short, I lost 48 pounds in 2 months and 5 days, and
Wow.
I didn't step foot in the gym. And
Now that is impressive.
and so it wasn't that hard. And it was a process that I could really get behind. And anyway, so that's just kind of my mindset. If I'm going to do something, if I know something, if I want to learn something, why not find a way to monetize it on the back end? One of my quotations that I kind of came up with, I took an old quote and added on to it. When life hands you lemons, don't just make lemonade, build a lemonade stand and sell the stuff. Because you're going through something. Life handed me lemons of being a big boy. I'd been heavy all my life. And when I finally found something to help me with that, if I share it, then I can I can sell the stuff.
Yeah. No, I love that. I was chatting to someone yesterday that is massively into these essential oils, and has been since a child, when her mother was teaching her about it back in the 80s, I think it was. And she now sells essential oils because she knows all about them. It's her passion. The lockdown in the UK happened, so she needed to do something else, and just went off and started doing that. So, but this is the thing. I think some people tend to do like the one thing,
Yeah.
and then don't actually think, oh, hang on a minute, I could do something else as well, because that is a big mind shift, I think.
Yeah, it is. Some people do get caught in that employee mindset. I guess my problem is I've never been in that employee mindset. I tried to do the real job thing. It didn't work out. And I fell on to the stuff that my dad had, taught me. My dad was never an employee, that at least when I knew him. He was probably an employee when he was younger. But by the time I came around, he was a businessman, and he was doing he worked for himself. He had multiple different investments going on. And so when it came to me being devastated with not getting in the FBI and doing what my dream was, I kind of just fell back onto that. And then here we are, 20, 30 years later, and I'm still doing my own thing and coming up with new things. I've written the book, I do the podcast, I have courses coming out to help people. I have a free course that's at youridealsidehustle.com, where you can go, and it's basically just a following of the book.
Yeah.
And it's helping you go through a process to where when you get done, you'll come out with a handful of ideas that you can monetize.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm just kind of taking that, following my dreams. I love talking about business and figuring out ways to make money. I love talking with people about it. I love helping people get in their head or get out of their head, that's whatever's stopping them, and helping them move to get multiple streams of income, because that's where your financial security is going to be.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, for sure. So that's like a free course. We can put the links in when we. Obviously, this
Yes.
is live, so we'll put the links into the websites and the courses and the book, obviously, in the comments and in the show descriptions. But yeah, so can you give us a little flavour of what one or two ideas might be? Because, and the reason I ask is because we've just had it all over the news the last couple of days. I know you've got an election going on. We've just got arguments amongst politicians about whether to shut down or not. so there's going to be a lot of people, I think, looking. I think there's going to be a big shift. A lot of people looking to actually supplement their income in different ways. So if you could give us a little flavour of what things might work for people.
So I'll tell you one of the stories that's in my book. Erin, her and her sister, this was back in 2010, they would go to the beauty salon and get those nail wraps to make their nails pretty.
Right.
They were walking out of the salon one day, and one of them said to the other, "I bet we could do these at home for cheaper." And that sparked a $500 million business.
Wow.
And from that simple comment, like I said, they went from, okay, we're going to get some prototypes. We're going to go to a trade show. They go to the trade show, and all they had was the prototypes and the samples. And then, bam, they got all these orders. And so they're in mom's garage as a family working together, filling these orders just in time to go to the next trade show.
Wow.
Once again, all they had was the prototype and samples. They weren't selling anything. They come home with another stack of orders, and they're like, okay, we need to turn this into a business.
Yeah.
In 5 years, they sold that business for a multi-million-dollar deal. They sold 50% of the company and still retained 50% until 2018. Just because of one statement. I bet we could do this at home for cheaper.
That's amazing, isn't it? And also another great takeaway from that story, Bart, is that a lot of people think, oh, to go into my own business, I need to have stock and inventory. So it's a big investment. But actually, no, you're right. They've just gone and had, here's our prototypes. And once you've got the orders in, then you can go and actually make the product and fulfill those orders.
Yeah, and even with courses nowadays, you got a lot of people doing online courses.
Yeah.
A lot of them pre-sell their courses before they've even made the course. They have the idea, they know what they want to teach, but they haven't done the video work. They don't have the money to do the video work and to get it done professionally. And so they pre-sell the course and then go do the video work on the course. They sell their idea.
Yeah.
And with the world today, there's no need to do stuff that you don't want to do. You know, there's so many. I ask 3 questions that I've kind of turned into 6 questions.
Okay.
So in my course, I ask, what do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? Okay. Now let's take that a step further. What do you want to learn? What do you need to learn for yourself and for your own business? What have you already learned that you can teach someone else? Now let's figure out how to monetize some of those things. And they don't have to be a multi-million-dollar thing like happened with Aaron. You know, it can be several small streams of income adds up to a good, stream of income.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if you're the online course industry is huge, but you're right. If most of us know something, and if we know something more than someone that wants to know it, then teach what you know. I think that might be one of the most overlooked ideas,
Right.
possibly ever.
And really, everybody thinks about passion and what do you like to do. Everybody forgets the things that you need to do. I mean, come on. The way I lost my weight was several 10-day cleanses in that 2-month and 5-day period.
Okay.
Nobody goes out in life and say, oh, I want to do a 10-day cleanse. It's not nothing. I needed to do it for my health and for me. Once I found it, learned it, mastered it, now I can promote it. And so people overlook the things that they need to do for themselves or for their business.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people need to pay more attention to, because you're going to do it. I'm in the process of learning Facebook ads right now.
Yeah.
When I get that mastered, when I learn how to do it, it's going to be something that you can hire me to do to help you. Because, and it came about because I needed to learn it for myself.
Yeah.
And so I think people really get caught up in this. Oh, I got to be passionate about it. No, you just gotta need to do it and have the commitment to do it, whether you like it or not. And it doesn't have to be a long period of time. You may only do that for the time that you're doing Facebook ads. And then whenever let's say I get enough money coming in from my Facebook ads, now I hire someone to do it, then I'm probably not going to sell that product because I'm not going to be up on the new trends with Facebook ads. It wouldn't be fair to my client, for one, but it's not something that I really enjoy doing. I just had to do it for a time, for a season.
No, that's a very good point. And again, especially in the online world, it is just changing constantly. So to keep up to date with it all is it's frightening. I mean, I was, a couple of years ago, I was pay-per-click. I wanted to be certified in virtually everything. So I was Google pay-per-click certified, analytics certified, all the various things with digital marketer certifications for paid traffic. And unless you're actually doing it, then time moves on. And suddenly what you've been learning only a couple of years ago, a lot of the key little elements just don't even exist anymore. So it's one of those things. But so you're also a coach, I believe.
Yes, so in my speaking, Apple or AT&T or a big company is not going to pay me to come into their convention and tell all their employees they need to go get a side hustle. And so I do my own. Before COVID anyway, I was doing my own live events where that I would do a seminar, bring people in. We'd go through basically the online course that I told you about that's free, and then I'm getting a paid course that gets the rest of the seminar. Once you got the handful of ideas, okay, how do I monetize that? I have a paid course that'll be coming out next month that takes you through all the steps that you would normally get in my seminar. How to find your ideal client, how to talk to them, how to, once you have your clients, you want your clients to buy whatever they can from you. And so how to branch off your offer. You have your main offer and then branch it off to selling other stuff that relates to your offer. And so creating that multiple streams of income through your one offer. And so it just takes you through the steps of how to turn those ideas into an actual stream of income. And that'll be coming soon.
And so you've actually done that because of the COVID thing. You weren't able to do as many seminars. So again, like your given lemons, your lemons analogy, you've just made it into a lemon stall.
Exactly. And it's one of those things that it just makes sense. I mean, I had already had it in the process. I was going to shoot one of my live events and put that into an online course that people could purchase. But then those live events didn't happen this year. Let's just say 2020, I had big goals and those goals had to get changed a little bit.
Yes.
But it pushed me to kind of accelerate those things.
It does, and I think that wasn't that one of the titles of one of your podcasts recently. Bird of the Year was Pivot.
Yeah, and I don't like pivot, but hey, we have to do it.
I know.
Nobody likes change.
I know that in a couple of years' time, that will be like the rudest word on the planet. Pivot.
That and the new normal.
Oh, yeah. Oh no, it's a crazy time. Bart, I mean, so are there opportunities for people to actually work with you alongside, as well as you've got your online courses, speaking? Can people work with you? Are you open to people working with you?
Everything is kind of different. So one of my clients, he calls himself a legal advocate. He's
Okay.
not an attorney. He's actually he's a speaker, but he likes to focus on helping attorneys win their cases by speaking. And
Oh,
so I say by speaking, but if you just help them articulate their thoughts so that the judge can't deny them. He has a 97% win ratio from back long time ago.
wow.
And he deals mainly in employment cases, people who are terminated for the wrong reason, or a business who is in a battle because someone says they terminated them in a wrong reason. And so that's where he likes to focus on. And, so you think about that. Okay, where can this guy get new clients? He's used to the phone book, which is no longer around. He doesn't play in the online world. So I took him and taught him LinkedIn.
Oh,
And he had his ideal client down to a T. It's HR people and attorneys that deal in employment law.
yeah.
And so we went there and we targeted those connections. He went from 40 connections on LinkedIn to he's up to almost 3,000 targeted connections. And now it's time for him to dance, time for him to perform on LinkedIn, comment. I set him up a strategy to, don't just go in and say, hey, look at me. Go in and do thoughtful comments on people's posts. And it's amazing what he's done in just, a few months.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I guess COVID has kind of helped a little bit because a lot of unemployment right now. But he has people coming to him and he's getting cases off of LinkedIn that he can help the attorneys with their case. Or sometimes the attorneys say, okay, we don't handle this. Could you help this client of ours? And so I've done things like that, just helping people get their stuff into action. And when you get to the end of my course, if you're an oils person, or you're a dog trainer, or a dog sitter, your needs are going to be different. And so you can reach out to me and we can connect and figure out what the needs that you're going to need, and then go forward, get you down that path to getting that stream of income. And then also, to the biggest thing is to take what it is, your core offer, and branch those off. Okay, what am I going to need? What is my customer going to need? So let's just monetize your mindset.
Mm,
My core offer in working that. What are my clients going to need? Well, if they're going to start a podcast, which could be one of the things that they do, they're going to need to have a podcast host. Well, I'm an affiliate for Buzzsprout, who is my podcast host.
right.
So my clients already love and like me. If they're going to start a podcast, they're going to go through my link to Buzzsprout. They're going to pay the same, and I get a little bit.
Yeah, perfect.
If they're going to build an email list, they're going to need an autoresponder. If they don't already have one, I have one that I like and that I use. I'm an affiliate of that. I will send them that direction. So there's many things that your clients are going to need that you can provide, and it's not even your product. You're just an affiliate of those products. And so that's one of the biggest things that I help people think through is, hey, what are my clients going to need? What can I provide for them so that they take full advantage of what it is they are selling?
Yeah. No, totally get that. And that is a great idea. I mean, I think virtually all companies have an affiliate program.
Right.
And you're right. It's not, and actually a lot of people, you'll get a discount for going as well. A bit like, like with me and using the BeLive software here,
Right.
it's because I've been using BeLive, and I can sell it to friends or people that want to live stream, then I say, yep, Be Live's a great option if you want to know about it. And also because I use it, every day, I'm
Right.
a great person to actually teach someone how to use it as well. So,
Right.
and that's the thing, isn't it? So you're using your knowledge, as you said about the CRM, this thing, something that you're using every day, so that the person that's going to be using it in future, has someone that they can touch base with and say, Bart, couldn't just show me how to do this sequence. I'm trying to get this sequence right.
Right.
But equally, it's a win-win situation, because you're giving them something that and understand, and you're a valuable resource as well. It increases your value, I guess.
Right. And people need to realize that they have this already. They have knowledge. They have something that they can monetize already in them. They really just need a memory jogger to make them aware. And some people may need a confidence builder, because it's a tough world out there. I have a friend that I was on my podcast. She is a Forex trader, and she was on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I've watched some of her posts on Facebook, and she posted one about she says 1% of the world's population makes or controls 97% of the wealth. And she's just trying to start a conversation, and her question was, why do you think that is? And some of the people got on there and they're just like, I don't know if your numbers are correct. I don't know. I think 1% of the population controls half of the money in the world. And I went and I did a Google search, and I had to come on and defend her, because I did a Google search, and in 2017, 8 people controlled 50% of the world's population, or the world's money.
Yeah.
8. And so there's a guy saying 1% controls 50% of the money. I'm just like, no. And anyway, people will attack you just to question you. And she had probably 5 or 6 people just kind of say, yeah, I don't think your numbers are correct, rather than starting a conversation of what we know is out there, the wealth gap, rather than just realizing what she's trying to do. You'll get attacked, and people, they're kind of timid and kind of afraid, and they have to say, that's okay. I don't care if people don't get it.
That's true. That's true. And I'll be honest, about 5 years ago, when I was running a lot of Facebook ads, it was quite funny. I was getting some great results on video ads, but my goodness, some people are just mean for the sake of being mean. And the first couple of times you do go a bit, that's a bit uncalled for. But after a while, it's just like, yeah, whatever.
I was running the Facebook ads when my book launched for my book. And I had people would come in and take over. And I don't know if it's changed, but when I did that, they would put in a picture with words, and I couldn't delete the picture. And these were nasty stuff. I can delete text, but I couldn't delete the picture. And so I had to totally start over my algorithm for my ads. I had to cancel the ad, and I'm just like, why? Back to my weddingweight.com, that website. For some reason, it gets attacked by bots all the time. And I'm constantly having to go in and delete comments, and just it's just a constant battle, because someone wants that site. I believe they want me to give it up and say this is a hassle.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But as you said, it's a great domain name. So I'd imagine that is quite valuable. So.
Well, and it's just kind of funny. You are going to get attacked from people who don't know you, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. And, so I don't like to deal a whole lot in mindset, but there are a few things when it comes to mindset that I will deal with when it comes to my clients. And it's stuff that I've had to deal with myself, confidence and putting myself out there. The person who connected us, Kelly Walker,
Yeah, she's
she
lovely.
is perfect about being obnoxiously visible on social media. And she said that's her term, obnoxiously visible.
I love that.
And she doesn't care what people, she may care, but she doesn't let it affect her,
Yeah.
you know. And so that's, like I said, I'm more about the nuts and the bolts of money and results, or when it comes to a weight loss system, results that are going to encourage you and keep you going. I like results. I'm not a warm fuzzy mindset person, but I will deal with it when the need comes up with my clients, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's and just very briefly talking about results. It just reminded me of when you were talking about saying, you didn't want a 10-day cleanse. It wasn't what you're looking for, but you were actually looking for the result. I was going to say, so yeah, you don't type into Google, oh, where can I go get a 10-day cleanse from? It's
Exactly.
where can I?
A friend of mine, so
It's
my
the
friend Beth,
result you want. Yeah.
my friend Beth, she called me up and she says, Bart, you got to try this thing. It's the 10-day celebrity transformation cleanse. And my answer to her was, Beth, I want to do a 10-day cleanse like I want a colonoscopy, and that's not very bad. She paused for a second, just a second. And she says, well, at your age, you probably need both.
Oh,
Anyway, after about a year and a half of her bugging me, I finally gave in and tried it. And here's the facts. My first 10-day cleanse, I was 6'4", 280 pounds. On my first cleanse, I lost 18 and a half pounds in 10 days. My wife, who had pushed me to do this, we had bought her a cleanse too. And right before I started, she's like, nah, you're just wasting your money. So I had the extra cleanse that she didn't do. I took a break for about 4 to 7 days, and then I did another cleanse. I lost another 11 pounds.
wow.
So this was in less than a month. I was down almost 30 pounds, and I was excited.
Yeah,
I was,
that's what result. Gosh.
the results just, when you can get results, that's where you're going to get excited. It's like speaking. I remember my first speaking engagement was in Austin, Texas. And I was with a company that had some products, and I was just supposed to do a short 3 to 5 minute testimonial in front of about 5,000 people. I was pretty scared.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was quite scared, but that adrenaline was rushing through my veins. And oh man, it was like my first bungee jump or my first, skydiving trip. And I got up on the stage and I said something that was supposed to be funny, and they laughed. And I was like, ooh, that's good. And I said something where they were supposed to ooh and ah. And you know what? They oohed and awed. I was like, wow, I love this. The speaking is great. The result caused me to go, okay, I need to pursue this a little more. And it's so when you get results, if I'd gone out there and said my funny part and I got no results, do you think I would be a speaker right now? I probably would have given it up. And so with weight loss, with whatever you're doing, when you get results, that's what gets you excited and helps you continue, get you motivated. And so I like that results based stuff. I kind of avoid the warm, fluffy. Mindset is part of it, like I said, and I will address some mindset things, but I'm not your warm, fluffy, get in touch with your feelings guy.
No, get in touch with your results.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
I love that. I love it. Oh, Bart, it's been time's flying with chatting to you. Is there, yeah, I mean, apart from obviously we have the COVID issue at the moment, but how do you see the future for yourself? More different pies, more speaking, hopefully. online speaking, maybe.
Yeah, it has been fun talking to you today. It would have been a whole lot more fun if we would have been across the table with each other.
Oh yeah,
But the opportunities that COVID has brought with virtual, it would have been impossible for us to be across the table without this technology and people thinking out of the box a little bit more. So I'm going to do several online courses. I have a friend in my mastermind group that last night we were together last night for a few hours, a group of us, and she was telling me, why don't you do some live virtual events rather than do the online course? Why don't you do some? So she's pushing me to do some live virtual events, which I am considering. I like I said, I would prefer to do in-person events where I can see the audience and interact. I also had someone tell me our Toastmasters events are virtual now because
yeah.
we don't get together, and so I actually gave a speech last week in Toastmasters, and the evaluator, I don't know if you're familiar with Toastmasters, but after your speech, you have an evaluator.
Okay.
And my evaluator said, "Oh, I wish I could have seen you give that speech live because that would have been so much more fun and entertaining." Not, and she has the caveat, not that you weren't entertaining today, but just to be able to see all of your body movements and to be able to see your hands more and to be able to have that eye contact more
Yeah.
would have just been so much better. But you did a good job anyway. So I do enjoy the live better than the virtual, but the virtual, with things going, hopefully we get a vaccine for COVID and COVID dies down a lot.
Yeah.
I know we're a little bit less restricted than you are there in the UK, but still we can't have too many people at an event. We're going to do a Halloween party
I was going to
for,
say, you actually have some little events where you are.
yeah, we can, but then you have, so when it comes to Toastmasters, we could actually meet because our numbers are not over, 20, but you have people that are in that dangerous age range who
Yeah.
would prefer to go virtual. And so we are going to start doing a once a month live event for Toastmasters in a 400 seat auditorium where there's only 20 of us, so we can spread out, plenty of social distancing. But we're doing our first one next week, and it's going to be fun to be back on a stage.
Oh, fantastic. That's
So in the future, maybe like I said, I have a friend pushing me to do virtual events. She talks about, I miss hearing your message more, and you should really do that. And so we'll see where it leads to. Hopefully this thing is over, or at least the restrictions are where we are not as fearful about things,
yeah.
and we can get back to somewhat normal, at least for those who are not in the danger range, the pre-existing conditions and older people.
Yeah, there was something in, I don't know whether it's the same in the States or not, but I think I saw somewhere that in the UK, the average age of someone dying of COVID was 83, when the actual average age of death in the UK is 82 and a half. So it's one of those really weird statistics. Like you're more likely to die of old age than you are of COVID.
And who knows if those that died of the COVID weren't dying of old age first.
Exactly. But as we like to say, 95% of all statistics are, of course, made up. So
exactly.
Apart from your friend's wealth one, which was spot on.
Yes.
Oh, but it has been absolutely lovely talking to you. We've been chatting for almost an hour. Absolutely brilliant. Have you got any advice any final advice you could give someone that's thinking of that wants to have a side hustle or do something totally different? Is there anything you would just say to them to motivate them to actually go and do it?
Well, if you would indulge me, I would like to end with kind of my signature story,
Oh, absolutely.
and I call it Acres of Pig Poop. So, like I grew up on a pig farm in southern New Mexico, and there is a story out there called Acres of Diamonds. Have you heard the story of Acres of Diamonds? For those who haven't, it's about a Persian farmer, Ali Hafed. He sells his farm and he goes in search of diamonds. He dies broke, alone in a foreign land. He never found his riches. The person who bought his farm was watering his camel in a brook. He sees a strange rock, reaches down and picks it up, and lo and behold, it's a diamond. He finds acres of diamonds on what was Ali Hafed's backyard. So mine is acres of pig poop. So where's this going to go? Like, I grew up in a small town. Its town's name is Animas. There were more pigs than people in my town. Because of us, Dad was a pig farmer. At any one time we had 20,000 pigs.
Wow.
2,000 sows. Do you know what a sow is? It's a mama pig.
Yeah.
And we would have a mama pig can have a litter of pigs every 2.5 times a year. And on our farm, we averaged 9.97 pigs per litter.
Wow.
So almost 10 pigs per litter. So if you do the numbers correctly, that equals a lot of pig poop. A lot of pig poop. We had 3 man-made ponds that we called the lagoons that we would divert the stuff into. It's a settling pond. One year it would go to this pond, and then we'd leave that one alone, send it to another, and just rotate and rotate. In his mid-60s, my dad decided it was time to shut down the pig operation and go in search of his next acres of diamonds. He died at age 81. He never really found the next big thing. A couple of years later, we sold the pig farm for $235,000, which was a fair price for the property. The new owners of our farm, they were leveling those man-made ponds that had been dry on top for years. It had been years since they'd been wet at all. Yeah. But this heavy grader, the equipment, broke through the crust and sunk up to its belly in this black muck.
Ooh.
They called in experts to come and check it out, and they came, and right there on the spot, they offered the new owners of our farm $2,000 a ton for the stuff.
Wow.
That's $1 a pound for old pig poop. For fertilizer. It's going to make good fertilizer. Crazy. 500 tons of old pig poop was acres of diamonds right under my dad's nose.
Oh, wow.
So what about you? Where are your acres of diamonds? Are you overlooking them like Ali Hafed and my dad? I mean, they're right there in your backyard, right there within your grasp, right there under your nose. So my advice to anybody listening to this is don't overlook what is already right there within your grasp. That would be my finishing remarks for people. There's so much right there around you to take a hold of and turn into a stream of income.
Well, what can I say? And this is from a man that doesn't do mindset. But it has been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. If you just wait, there's not a lot else I can add, but I'm just going to close the show and just give us 2 shakes. So what can I say, guys? I love these open for business USAs. We're meeting some amazing people. Obviously, all the links that for Bart's courses, websites, everything will be going in the comments in the show notes, so you can go find him, track him down, work with him. What an amazing man! And again, I'm just the luckiest person on the planet. I get to interview all these amazing people. I get to find out their stories. So until the next time, hopefully next week we will have another Open for Business USA. We've got an Open Business in the UK with the lovely V Salonica tomorrow at 2. I know it'll be 2 because that's in the same time zone, so I've got that one right. But